She's always been shy and reserved, and even after getting married, she's still the same. One day, she mistakenly thought she hung up the video call. By the way, my name is Nathan. I'm a 35-year-old businessman. There's nothing particularly special about me, except that I'm currently in the honeymoon phase of my marriage. I got married 6 months ago. My wife, Kathy, is 10 years younger than me. When we got married, my coworkers teased me a lot. I think it was mostly jealousy. I'm a sales rep for a travel company, and Kathy is a curator for a private art museum. I met her when she came on a work assignment to one of my clients. The first time I saw her, I was taken aback. She looked stunningly beautiful, yet there was something dreamy about her. I thought she was putting on an act, but it was just her being herself. She looks drop-dead gorgeous, but can be a bit of an airhead. Every time I discovered this difference, I fell more in love with Kathy. It took me 2 years of persistent effort to finally win her heart. She turned down my marriage proposal twice, but I never gave up. I think our marriage is a result of my perseverance. Our married life has been peaceful, and every day brings new discoveries with Kathy. My life changed completely after marrying her. Kathy's family is all about the arts. Her mom is a pianist, her dad is a painter, her sister is a traditional American painter, and her brother is a sculptor. In this family, Kathy feels like she doesn't fit in. She told me before we got married that she wasn't naturally gifted and had to work hard. She realized early on that she wasn't talented. From that moment, Kathy chose to work hard. Do you know what it's like to work so hard it makes up for a lack of talent? This was what the usually calm and serene Kathy said to me with a pained look. I've never felt like I had any special talent. Both my parents and siblings are ordinary. I grew up in peace without comparing myself to anyone. But I could see from her face how hard she had worked. I think I fell in love with her no matter what. I told her, hoping to reach her heart. Soon after, she accepted my marriage proposal. Nathan, I'd like to visit my folks for a bit. Is that okay? About 6 months into our marriage, she asked me this over breakfast, and I immediately agreed. It felt like a good time for her to visit home. Of course, it's fine. Go ahead. Don't worry about me, I responded. Kathy smiled and said, "Thank you." Kathy's family home is in Boston. All her family members live there. "I'll call you every day," she said, pointing to the laptop beside her. Even when I'm on business trips, we always make sure to video call each other every evening. This is the first time Kathy has left our home since we got married. But something suddenly happened. It seems there's some issue back at my family home. Kathy sighed with a look of concern. Perhaps their family has different problems than most. There might be a lot of things that I don't understand, but I want to be by her side as much as I can. There's probably a lot I don't get, but don't keep any secrets, okay? Just talk to me about anything. I gently shook her hand, and she nodded yes and smiled happily. It's been a month since that morning. I had thought she'd be back after just a week. Sure, Kathy calls me every day, but isn't this a bit long? Could it be that she has someone she can't forget about? I've been fighting off such distressing thoughts. Nathan, what's wrong? You don't seem well today. Kathy looked concerned on the computer screen. Even though we're video calling, I must have seemed distant. Sorry, nothing's wrong. Just busy with work. It's becoming a good season for trips. Busy season, you know. I tried to brush it off, yet she still looked worried and reached out her hand. I think she was trying to feel my forehead through the screen to check if I had a fever. Of course, that's impossible, but I couldn't help but adore her for being so earnest in her concern. Her quirks always made me fall for her. Kathy, you can't really check my fever like that. Oh right, silly me, she chuckled, looking a bit embarrassed when I pointed it out. We talk every day through video calls, but she hasn't told me anything about the family issue that caused her to go home. I felt like I shouldn't pry, so I've been waiting for her to open up about it. That day, too, we ended the video call with just small talk. I think he'll take a bit longer. I know you're busy, but please eat properly. Kathy ended the call with a note of concern for my well-being. I smiled and replied, I'm good, and hung up. I always waited for Kathy to end the video call first. I wanted to see her face for as long as possible. Today, I waited for her to end the call as usual, but she didn't hang up. She seemed to have forgotten to do so. I fumbled for my phone to message her, You haven't disconnected the video call. On the computer screen, Kathy, unaware she was still connected, started to change. We are a married couple, so there's nothing wrong with that. I kept telling myself that as I saw my reflection on the screen. I did feel a bit guilty about it. We've been apart for such a long time. Surely even God would forgive me for this little indulgence. With that selfish justification, I continued watching. The moment Kathy's blouse slipped off her shoulder, I froze. I had seen her secret. Come to think of it, I think it was the first time I'd seen her skin in the light. I thought we had no secrets between us. What's this on the screen? A beautiful floral tattoo was inked on Kathy's left hand. It seemed unfinished, with only the outline visible. In my shock, I quickly shut the computer. That made me completely speechless. Was Kathy involved with someone dangerous back home? No other explanation made sense. I was haunted by that thought. From that day, our video calls became a painful experience. Considering you're probably busy too, we don't have to talk every day, I suggested. Kathy looked surprised at my words. After a brief moment of sadness, she showed her usual smile. You're right, Nathan. You must be busy too. I'm sorry for not realizing. I won't call every night, she said softly and ended the video call. I felt awful, like I'd done something terrible to her, and spent the night feeling depressed. Our nightly calls stopped abruptly after that day. Kathy returned about a month after our conversation. The day before, she had emailed, I'll be back tomorrow. I was ecstatic, but equally apprehensive. Facing her and talking was now a daunting thought. I anxiously awaited her return. She came back in the evening. I had taken a day off to welcome her home. I'm back, Nathan. Why aren't you at work? Kathy looked surprised to see me home on a weekday evening. Her reaction only fueled my anxieties. I took a day off. Welcome home. You took a pretty long vacation. I tried to sound welcoming, but my words dripped with unintended sarcasm. She noticed the difference in my demeanor right away. She put down her bags next to the living room couch and sat down, looking up at me intently. What is it? I was taken aback by her piercing gaze. She's the one with the secret, so why is she staring at me so defiantly? I wanted to confront her, but the words wouldn't come. Kathy, seeing my hesitation, took the initiative. Do you have something to say to me, or is there something you want to ask? Being questioned so directly irritated me. Why do I have to be the one to confront her? Anger bubbled up inside me. It's you who's keeping secrets, isn't it? Why am I the one being confronted? The roles have reversed, haven't they? I snapped back, raising my voice unintentionally. Kathy looked taken aback. Secrets from me? The idea of her playing dumb infuriated me even more. I spilled the beans. I told her that the video call hadn't disconnected and I'd seen everything. Isn't that tattoo on your left hand a secret? You felt guilty, so you hid it from me, right? My voice grew louder without me realizing it. Once I voiced my doubts, there was no stopping me. Kathy's puzzled face only made me angrier. Guilty about what? About this. She rolled up her sleeve to show the tattoo. The once unfinished tattoo was now complete. I don't know all the details, but it was just a beautiful carving. It was a beautiful piece of art that left me staring in awe. For this, where's the guilt in this? I had every intention of telling you. Kathy's eyes, gazing straight into mine, seemed to carry no deceit. Her eyes were proof that she had nothing to hide. Feeling drained, I slumped down on the couch. I've never kept anything from you, Nathan. Her stern face softened to her usual gentle expression. I'm sorry for jumping to conclusions. Kathy, can you explain it to me if you're not too frustrated with me, that is? She may not like me anymore. I felt a pang in my chest thinking she might resent me now. Why would I be frustrated? You're just concerned about me, right? Kathy gave a comforting smile, then she began to explain the origin of the tattoo. She said the reason she had to rush back home was because of her younger brother, Evan. Evan, who originally aspired to be a traditional painter, suddenly announced he wanted to be a tattoo artist. Their parents were against it, leaving Evan feeling isolated within the family. He was sensitive and deeply cared about his family. Kathy went home fearing the pressure might break him. Their strict father, seeing Kathy's side with Evan, lashed out, saying, "You, without a shred of talent. To my father, I'm a disappointment. Even though I carry his blood, I don't have the artistic talent. I'm an embarrassment to him." Kathy chuckled wryly. Now that she mentioned it, I remembered her parents acting distant at our wedding. I had thought that's how artistic families were. As Kathy had guessed, Evan was on the verge of a mental breakdown. To shut my father up, I offered Evan my left arm, Kathy said casually. She gave one arm to her brother as a gift. Do whatever you want, she had told Evan, to tattoo whatever he wanted. But he had to make it a masterpiece good enough to silence their father. From that day, Evan transformed. He poured his heart and soul into that piece, forgetting even basic necessities like food and sleep. He's always been artistically inclined. Out of all the siblings, he probably has the most talent. Maybe my father was just jealous, Kathy speculated. On the other hand, their eldest brother, a traditional painter, seemed relieved he didn't have to compete with Evan anymore. Your brother? Why? I asked. I think he was afraid of Evan's talent, probably scared that Evan would surpass him and let their father down. Kathy's face was serious as she spoke. Her family was probably stricter than I imagined. Just thinking about how she was constantly told she had no talent almost brings me to tears. I believe there's a violence to beauty. I asked Evan to create something brutally beautiful, Kathy continued. Indeed, even to an amateur like me, her tattoo was clearly a work of art. Its mesmerizing beauty could probably captivate even those prejudiced against tattoos. And your father, did he come around? At my words, Kathy grinned in a way I'd never seen before, perhaps a look of triumph. He knelt down and admitted defeat after seeing the ink Evan had created. Their father was brought to his knees, probably overwhelmed. He was at a loss for words, his usual arrogance vanished, making him seem small. He probably realized his own narrow-mindedness. Kathy chuckled. Her mood lifted. I felt ashamed for doubting her. You thought I was cheating on you, didn't you? Caught off guard, I was lost for words. Seeing my reaction, Kathy seemed to pick up on something. She looked at me with a twinkle in her eyes. I mean, it wasn't, cheating or anything like that. It was just, no matter what the excuse, it was useless. The tables have turned. It hurts to be suspected of cheating. I quit my job and went back home just for Evan. Kathy revealed she had resigned from her job before returning home, as she couldn't get a long leave. She had no idea how long it would take or how long she'd have to stay with her family. I'm truly sorry. I apologized sincerely. Kathy laughed, looking amused. Then I'd like you to make it up to me, she said playfully, handing me a bunch of brochures. I'd love to spend some quality time with you, Nathan. Maybe at a hot spring, enjoying delicious food and taking long baths. The brochures showcased various regions: New England, Midwest, the South, and Alaska. But there was one common theme: bathing. Kathy loved bathing, often spending hours in the tub at home. She was mentally exhausted after dealing with her family's issues and wanted a relaxing getaway. Got it. Look forward to it, I reassured her. Kathy nodded happily. Then again, she said, I'm home. Welcome back, Kathy. I felt as though Kathy had truly come back to me. With this in mind, I welcomed her with a warm welcome back. In the aftermath of this incident, I felt Kathy began showing her true self even more. When I learned she had been trying hard not to upset me, I was taken aback. She had even declined my proposal once, thinking I was teasing her. Now, free from her family's constraints, she seemed brighter than before. Realizing we had both been putting on a facade, trying only to show our best sides, I felt truly grateful for the wake-up call. A few weeks later, we found ourselves at a hot spring. Upon arriving, Kathy, who had been cheerful the entire way, suddenly stopped in her tracks before a sign. You need to wear swimsuits to take a bath, the sign read loud and clear. Oh, come on. Kathy, a hot bath enthusiast, had especially been looking forward to the open-air bath. She was now utterly disappointed, knowing she was also barred from the indoor communal baths. Had she not realized this when she packed the suitcase? I sometimes wondered if she had some oversights. I did recall thinking something was off when she handed me the hot spring brochure. Perhaps she forgot something. Seeing her now looking so devastated, I had to fight back a chuckle. Well, it can't be helped. It's their rule. After checking in and receiving our room key, we were escorted to our quarters by a staff member. Wanting to make it up to Kathy for everything, I'd splurged a bit. We were led to a detached suite. Throughout the walk, Kathy remained visibly upset. We received the key at the entrance of the suite and entered the room. I tried to cheer her up. Look, we have our private indoor bath. It'll be fine. She nodded, not really convinced. When we entered the living area and turned on the lights, her face lit up upon seeing the large window. Beyond it lay an open-air bath and a pool. Oh my! She rushed over, flinging the window open. Before us stood a beautiful, rock-crafted open-air bath alongside a small pool. So we get this all to ourselves. Grabbing my hand, Kathy hopped around in excitement. Oh, the swimsuit. Realizing she hadn't packed one again, her face fell once more. But I had come prepared. Handing her a new swimsuit I'd bought for her, she took it from me, already eager to take a dip. I decided to relax and watch her as she dashed off to change. In no time, she emerged in her swimsuit, the captivating tattoo on her left arm blending seamlessly with her skin. You're not swimming. Kathy, who had just dived into the pool and was now with water up to her head, propped her face on the edge, giving me a sulky look. No, I'm good. I'll just watch, I responded. She playfully protested with a really. Right then, an elegant lady, probably close to 70, approached to greet us. She was probably the landlady. The landlady politely greeted me, saying, "Thank you for today." I returned the gesture. Kathy waved from the pool. The older woman squinted a bit, letting out a soft sigh. "Excuse me, is something wrong?" I asked her. She looked a little dreamy as she commented, "You'd shown me something truly beautiful." It took me a moment to realize she was referring to Kathy's tattoo. Now I feel like I should not have felt like Kathy was hiding something. Over and over, she kept admiring its beauty. "This tattoo is made by her talented brother," I remarked to her, who looked surprised and with awe in her eyes. She then chuckled. How lucky she is to have this beauty in her. I finally felt like I understood the essence of what Kathy and her brother wanted to express with her art. Once we're back from our trip, I'll invite Kathy to go shopping. Whenever she walks around town with me, even in the height of summer, she always wears long sleeves. She's probably afraid of running into someone I know. I wish she'd be more confident, like when she used to wear that sleeveless dress often when she was single. Let's go on a date like we used to when you were single, I'll say to invite her. I'm sure she'll look surprised for a moment and then break